What's happening, guys? Hope your day's going well. If you're new to the channel, my name is Dave. This is my mission to muscle, and I review supplements. So people send me supplements. Sometimes I buy supplements, whether they're health supplements, pre-workouts, intro workouts, muscle building supplements. I basically go over the ingredient profile, and I go over the effects on what you can expect if you decide it's something you want to purchase. I took a half dose a couple times on this, and I knew my training session was going to be good. And I'll explain the training session this morning and how it went. It was 52 sets. 52 freaking sets. Chest, it wasn't chest. It was tries, buys. I'm still kind of on it. Tries, buys, and shoulders. And I started off training and got lost. And before I knew it, I was 20 sets into triceps. So I was thinking, yeah, I'll just balance it out and do 20 sets of biceps. And then I got the shoulders because I have to work tonight. I didn't do that many shoulder sets, so I did like 12 different sets of shoulders. So anyways, we'll get right into this. Hollow Labs Shadow Black Pre-Workout. So we'll get into the ingredient profile. I'll put it right in front of me here. This is a one rounded scoop is supposed to be 6.4 grams. And just so you know, one rounded scoop is about 7.2. So you need a scale on this. But there is a line on this scooper. So I was trying to figure out a way to tell you guys, how you could take this without a scale and get that 6.4 grams, but it's not much of a difference, but it's a STIM Junkie Pre. Some of you guys really don't want to take more than a recommended dose. So if you look at this scooper, there is like a line on the top of it. So if you get the bottle and it has this scooper in there, if you go up to that line and flat level up that line, that's about 6 to 6.4 grams. So that's just a quick way to do it. Or you just do a full scoop, you get to 7.2. There's not going to be much of a difference in effects, just a few, 0.6 grams on the scooper there. Sweet tea. So this was sent to me by Thomas at SubKings, and about a week later, I got two products from Hollow Labs themselves, and it was the same product. I was like, cool, and I opened it up. I was like, hope it's a different flavor, but it was the same flavor. So I can't give you guys a rundown on the different flavors, but I'll give you guys a rundown if you're curious about the flavor. This is a STIM Junkie pre-workout. So if you're buying this, you're a STIM Junkie. You're a STIM head, and you don't really care about flavors. But for those that do, I'll go and give you an idea on this. This is a decent flavor. So it's not horrible. You don't taste any of the ingredients. Can I say it tastes exactly like sweet tea? No. But it's like a tea sweet type flavor, if you know what I mean. So I don't have scales for flavors, but all I can tell you is you're not going to throw up, gag, or anything like that. It goes down nice. It's not going to have any problems with it. Getting right into the ingredient profile, getting out of the way, and then we'll get into the effects on this thing because that's what most of you are here for. I'll put the ingredient profile right in front of me. We got beta-alanine here at 2.5 grams. So that's for the itching, scratching, tingling that you get. More reps, more sets in the gym, less fatigue. It removes metabolites out of the muscles. That's pretty much, there is some acute effects, so you will get some kind of less fatigue when you're training if you don't take it all the time. But to get the full effects through the studies, which is like the endurance and all the power and all that stuff that they did in the studies, you have to be saturated with this ingredient. Bottom line, you got to take this ingredient every single day in order to get those acute effects on all the studies that were done on it. Then we got L-tyrosine at 1 gram. This is a precursor to dopamine, which is fantastic to have in a DMHA pre-workout. For those that don't know, your diet has to have tyrosine in it or some form of ingredient that's a precursor to dopamine in order for you to have good dopamine levels. I mean, you can get depressed. That's why when you go on a diet or something like that, you can kind of get depressed. You can kind of low energy. You're not really happy. That's because you cut down all your calories. You cut down your L-tyrosine intake in your diet. Or if you're fasting, you're going to have low L-tyrosine levels probably. So having a dopamine precursor in a pre-workout is fantastic because when the ARIA and the DMHA start pulling down from those receptors more dopamine into the brain to elevate it, you're going to have that extra dopamine in there. So that's fantastic that you put that in there. Then we got caffeine anhydrous at 350 milligrams. This is an adenosine blocker. So we have adenosine receptors in the brain, and adenosine is an ingredient that goes into those receptors and actually can make you tired, make you groggy, kind of like, I don't know if you've ever been driving and you're trying to stay awake, that type of a feeling. And what caffeine does is it blocks those receptors. It puts like a Band-Aid over those receptors so that the adenosine can't actually get into them. This also helps release calcium in the muscles for contractions during your training, and also has some elevated effects with serotonin, dopamine, as far as feel-good type feelings to it. We all know how caffeine is. Then we got Araya Genesis at 200 milligrams. This is a neuromodulator. So this attaches to some receptors in the brain, the TAR1, TAR2 receptors, and actually draws down and amplifies dopamine and noradrenaline for cognitive function and focus. You get a little bit of a STIM effect, only because of an awakening effect because of the dopamine and the noradrenaline, but no big central nervous system hit off of it. Then we got theobromine, which is 200 milligrams. Theobromine is a cousin to caffeine, so this also will block block the adenosine from getting to the adenosine receptors, but it's more mild. It has very mild stimulant effects. If you take this on its own, you will awaken like caffeine does to you, as long as you don't have like a tolerance to caffeine or something like that. So it's a good alternative for caffeine. It also is a natural diuretic and a vasodilator, so it's great for dilating the blood vessels for blood pressure and stuff like that. Then we got 2-amino, which is DMHA. 200 milligrams. Let you guys know now, it's a good source of DMHA. I'll let you know how this hits because they all hit different. This doesn't say if it's 2-amino 5, 2-amino 6, if it's a natural synthetic version. I feel it's the synthetic version by the way it hits. And it's a nice 2-hour ride on this for those that like that feeling. And this is a central nervous system hitter. This helps elevate adrenaline, noradrenaline, dopamine in the brain. It has a PEA backbone. So for those that have taken PEA before, which has a short lifespan, that also attaches to the TAR1, TAR2 receptors to elevate dopamine and noradrenaline for cognitive function and focus and a feel good and a mood feeling. But it's short-lived. So Araya and 2-amino have PA backbones. And what I mean by that is if you look at the molecule, if you put a PA molecule, and then which is a phenethylamine molecule structure, and then you put Araya and you put DMHA, you'll see there's a similarity to them, but there's a difference too. They have extra attachments basically to the molecule that allow them to withstand any kind of cleaving off of the receptors, so they stay there for a longer period of time, elevating the moods, elevating the cognitive function and the focus. Then we got Infinergy, which is dicaffeine malate at 75 milligrams. It's going to yield, it's 75%, so it's going to yield about 55 extra milligrams of caffeine. So you're right around the 400 mark of caffeine, and 40% of this, around 40%, they say, comes in with the anhydrous, so it comes in quickly like the anhydrous does. And then the other 60% or so is going to help you taper off. But theobromine, that's right, theobromine, got lost in my head there, also has a long-ass half-life for those that don't know. So when you have theobromine in a pre-workout, it's almost going to take you off of a pre-workout really well, like dicaffeine malate will as well, for the maybe 6 hours or so, help you kind of calm down so you don't crash or anything like that. So great ingredient to have. And then we got Alpha Yo HCl at 2.5 grams. And just so you know now, just in case I forget, you do feel the Alpha Yo a little bit. It's a good source to Alpha Yo. I'm somewhat sensitive, so for those that are curious, I don't like what is that? That pharma company that has Alpha Yo and everything. If those of you out there know that what I'm talking about, leave it in the comments down below. But that company uses a lot of Alpha Yo. I am somewhat sensitive. I can't stand those pre-workouts, even though I'll run them and review them for people. This one here, 2.5 grams, hits you, but with the other ingredients in it, it really tapers off some of the side effects that you're going to get from the Alpha Yo. But if you're super sensitive, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it in 20 minutes as it drops in, 25 minutes. Just let you know ahead of time. What Alpha Yo does, it's a fantastic ingredient. It's for fat loss. It's for energy production. What this does is it blocks it's an agonist, an anti-agonist to the alpha-2 receptors in the fat cells. And what that does is alpha-2 receptors want to hold on to fat, so it tricks those into releasing fat. And in turn, the body recognizes that fat release, that energy that's being thrown into the blood and then transported into the mitochondria, recognizes it and spikes adrenaline a little bit for an energy response. And in turn, when adrenaline is spiked, it spikes pKa, which is protein kinase A, which is going to create all kinds of different responses in the body, which is energy reduction, carbohydrate metabolism, fat metabolism, and vasodilation. So it's a great ingredient to have in a pre-workout. Just depends on if you can stand it or not. So Shadow Black by Hollow Labs. What is the experience? So you're going to take the 6.4 grams or the flat level scoop at 7.2. When you take this is very interesting. So I always kind of play around with these. Like I said in the beginning, I'll take a little bit here, a little bit there sometimes on these to see how they come in and if they hit hard, if they hit soft. This one here, when I took the half scoops and I took the full scoops, you pretty much don't get any kind of a feeling for a while. The beta alanine comes in about 10 minutes. So it does come in, and it is about 2.5 grams. So the dosage, you can feel it. You can feel the pins and needles, but it's not crazy. So for those of you that don't like scratching your face off, itching your head, if it hits you that way, then it's really good because it comes in and it lasts for about 40 minutes. So it hangs around in the background for quite a long time, but kind of like medium to medium high, so it's not harsh at all. The real effects start to drop in about 20-25 minutes. They start peaking in as far as cognitive function and focus, but you really notice it. You're sitting around, you're in there 20-25 minutes, you feel like nothing's gonna happen, and right between 25 and 30 minutes, blam, the alpha-O comes in, the DMHA comes in, the urea comes in, everything just comes on in. And we're going to talk about the energy on this thing. So it's about 400 milligrams of caffeine total. You're going to be running on about 375 when it comes in. And it's very, very smooth for a STIM Junkie pre-workout. What I mean by that is we all know STIM Junkie pre-workouts are stimmed pre-workout. So you're going to get an central nervous system hit and everything, but it's not crazy type energy. So my training session today was I went into the gym and I had an hour and a half. I actually finished 52 sets in an hour, but I had an hour and a half of smooth, non-anxious, non-crazy, running around like a chicken with your head cut off, really quick. None of that like real quickness. It was very smooth. So the energy was there, it picks you up, and it just drives you along with the head hit, the emotional hit, the euphoric hit, and the power that you get from this thing. So we'll get into that. So I just wanted to get the energy out of the way. It's a good hour and a half of that uplifted energy that combines with the other ingredients. That's nothing crazy. Your heart's not going nuts. Your central nervous system doesn't feel like it's getting taxed that hard. So I call that smooth as far as STIM Junkie goes. And this is going to last you, even though it comes down about an hour and a half, you're going to have some central nervous system energy for maybe another hour, maybe another hour and a half. And what is the biggest hit on this is you're going to have about 5 hours total of the DMHA and the urea hit. And this comes in kind of interesting. So I wanted to do this review and let you guys know, for those that, are thinking about experiencing this, and see if this is something for you. So when this thing drops in that 30 minutes and it really peaks around 40-45 minutes, the DMHA and the urea, you are in a nootropic bubble for a good 2 hours. And there is a nice euphoric hit for about 2 hours. So you're happy. You feel good. You're not giggling happy, but you're in that state to where you're dialed. You're focused and dialed, and you're enjoying whatever the heck you're doing with this nice pain threshold elevated. So I did 52 sets and felt like my muscles could still keep going. This thing drives you beyond your pain threshold and drives you beyond your normal state of working out. So this will push you further during your training, which is a good thing, but then it could be a bad thing because you do have to watch yourself. So euphoric hit, really nice. Feel good, real nice for 2 hours, but that comes down after 2 hours, and this is why I think it's the synthetic version, because the natural version kind of can keep you happy and feeling good for another 2-3 hours. This one comes down, and you're not irritated, you're not irritable or anything like that, but I mean, you could be. All depends on how you react to this thing. But it just dials down into the mood goes away. You pretty much don't have the happy mood anymore. You're just kind of feeling good, and you are cognitively enhanced for 4 to 5 hours as it's tapering down. So it's a long-lasting nootropic hit on this thing. Nothing horrible. So although I'm telling you guys exactly how I reacted to it, it was a nice run each time. This is a pre-workout that you do not want to take more than 4 days a week, in my opinion, because you need a break. Because this lasts, even though I tapered down nootropically, the DMHA hangs with you with that half-life of that 6 to 10 hours. So even though you're coming down off it, it's still in your system and it's still doing things to your body. So DMHA STIM Junkie pre-workouts, for those that are new, you really have to be conscious health-wise on how you are taking these and how you are throwing this into your regimen for your training. Pumps on this thing. Pumps are okay. So not really a pump, but you do get tightness. And I think the tightness I got every time I trained on this was because I was going beyond the pump. So I was pushing so many sets and reps. It was just unbelievable with short rest periods, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, jumping right back on, knocking out another set, 10 to 15 reps. So I left the gym vasodilated and tight. It was, really nice ride on this thing, if this is something you're looking for. I don't recommend this for beginners. If you do, and you are a beginner, you want to try this out, start with a half a scoop, because you want to see how your tolerance is to something like this compared to mine. I'm giving you my personal experience. What else can I say about this? Went over the ingredients, went over the flavor, went over the effects. The other thing I noticed on this thing was when the alpha yo kicks in about 25 to 30 minutes, you start sweating. And you have a nice sweating training session. So this would be great to throw into somebody's workout that is driven by recomping. So like, let's say you want a pre-workout that's going to help you with recomping effects. This is going to help you with fat loss for sure, because it hits on a fat loss aspect really well. So I hope this review was good. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to hit that like button before you leave. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. I got to get running up. I actually have bags in the back of my truck. I got some chicken back there. I wanted to do this review real quick for you guys. Got to go up and cook it. Cook my meal and cook my dog's meal. I feed my dog real food because it's part of my family. So, Shadow Black by Hollow Labs. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to get on with the rest of my day. You guys have a fantastic day or night yourselves. We'll see you next time on the channel.